For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
So how long have you been streaming on Twitch?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
That's
Back
awesome.
when Twitch wasn't even like, I'd tell people about Twitch and they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
And now people actually have heard of it,
Yeah.
you know? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't carry that video game only platform stigma.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the people I talk to, they automatically think hot tub streamers. That's
Yeah.
what they've heard about it. And I'm just like, okay, but no, like there's a whole music section.
There's more to it than that. There's
Yes,
way more
yes.
to it than that.
Yes, exactly. So,
And what I've been trying to do recently is go in, because I just recently figured out that, oh, hey, you can like search through the different people that are currently streaming and kind of organize
Yeah.
it by how many views or subs or whatever. And I've been trying to like look for like the people that are just starting out to try and help promote them a little bit because,
yeah.
you know, but it's also really hard because it's a lot of people that are just playing music and it's like got some video games in the background. So it doesn't really, they're not like
yeah.
actually playing music. So
Yeah.
it's interesting, but it's something that I've found a lot of joy in. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you
Alright.
for doing this.
yeah, for sure. And then, of course, Emmy Law was kind of the big driver in getting us to switch over to Twitch. We
Yes.
originally were doing this on Facebook, like originally for the podcast, it was live in person, you know, face
Yeah.
to face. Then the pandemic happened. And, you know, it was one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I can't stop the podcast. We got to keep going. So I found Zoom
Right.
and was like, opened up all these doors and we started streaming on Facebook and we were doing really well on Facebook. And then Facebook became not the thing anymore.
Right.
And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, where do we go now? So
That's great. Yeah, Amy's one of my best friends. And yeah, the cool thing about Twitch is that you can then export your VODs to YouTube. So
Yep.
then you can like put them on YouTube too. Do you do that or?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not very
Cool.
good at it because
Yeah.
like I'm already like 2 weeks behind right now.
Oh,
But,
okay.
you know, I do get them up on YouTube. So
Yeah.
it
Okay,
definitely
great.
works.
I'll
So,
look forward to that. That's great.
But since we're already kind of rolling in here, I'll do the intro kind of
Okay.
seamlessly. So I want to welcome everybody to the Live and Amplified Livecast. As you can tell, we've got a very special guest. We got Jess, who was introduced to me through Emmy Law and a whole bunch of other Twitch streamers as I've kind of worked my way into this community. You know, I've been in one stream and raided into your stream several different times, which is very funny and interesting how small the community is, but how supportive it is.
Yeah.
But there's still so many streamers out there. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But I want to welcome you to the podcast. I'm really
Thank
excited
you.
to chat with you, get to know more about you.
Yeah.
Obviously, on stream, there's only so many times you can kind of repeat the same things. And yeah, so
Right.
really excited to chat with you, get to know more about you and the new single that dropped yesterday.
Yes.
And I could tell by the look on your face, you're really excited about this single.
Yes.
Been in the works for a
Very.
while. So
Yeah.
for everybody that's just getting to meet you for the first time or getting to know you, give us a little bit of background and kind of introduce yourself to the audience.
So I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm based in Atlanta, and my main genre is pop. However, on Twitch streams, I'll sing just about anything. But yeah, I've lived here all my life and discovered the passion for performing when I was 5 years old, and then really started picking up singing when I was about 9. And then ever since then, it's been like all I've ever wanted to do. And then now here I am, and I released my first single in late 2019. Entitled Blue, and since then I've just been trying to like get some momentum going, and so far it's been working out really well. So
Awesome. So you were not originally from Atlanta. You're from like Virginia, but you moved to Atlanta when you were
Oh
really,
yeah, so like
yeah,
I was born in Virginia, but I
yeah.
actually haven't been back there since I was born. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. I
yeah.
saw that and I was like, that just means she's from Atlanta. So,
Yeah.
but
I'm a
no,
Georgia peach, you
yeah,
know.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you've lived in Atlanta pretty much your entire life.
Yeah.
What's the music scene been like there? Because you think of a lot of like hip hop and rap coming
Yeah.
out of,
Well, it's funny because you can drive in one direction, there's tons of hip hop and rap, and then you drive in another direction and it's country. So it's like, it has been a little challenging just finding like my places to perform because some places are so kind of indie folk country, and then others are so like hip hop rap. And so like finding the places for a pop artist, like they're out there definitely.
yeah,
It's just it's been a little bit more difficult for me.
yeah.
But I mean there's definitely places to perform at and opportunities everywhere. So
For sure, for sure. And I guess that's also where Twitch kind of comes into play. It gives you a consistent place to go and play and get your music out there. And
yeah.
we talked a little bit before this. You've been streaming for about 5 years now, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Takes you all the way back before Twitch was like
A thing.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what originally got you into Twitch, or what spoke to you about Twitch originally? I guess that's a better way to answer that.
I think I was watching it for a while. Like, my boyfriend at the time, he and I would watch League of Legends matches and different stuff like that on Twitch, and I was really into League of Legends, like, the nationals, finals, all that TSM. But so I was so into that, and I played League myself, but I never streamed it. And then one day we were bored, and we just came across this musician and a couple musicians. I was, watching them and everything. And my boyfriend at the time was like, well, why don't you do this? And I was like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
And well, the thing is that I wanted at that time, I was like, I want to do open mics. I need to get out there. I need to do this. But it was also like the drive, the traffic, and I was working too. So the amazing idea of streaming on Twitch was like, okay, I can just go to a room in my house and hop on live whenever I want. And those will be my open mics.
Yeah.
And so that was the original intent. Okay, I'll do this to try and, get something going, at least practice. That's what I just considered it. I was like, even if no one watches, I'm going to be practicing performing in front of people. And my skills were so much lower. Like I was learning piano. I, wasn't very good yet. And I would stop in the middle of songs because I'd mess up. Like it's been, like.
So at that point, you were still pretty young in your career, but were you just doing covers at that point, or were you already starting to kind of write original music?
Yeah, I was doing covers. I've been writing. I mean, I think I wrote my first song when I was in 4th grade. But, I never considered myself a songwriter until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I thought, oh, I write songs. That doesn't mean I'm a songwriter. Like, I didn't think I was. And then someone told me one day, they were like, no, you're a songwriter. And I was like, no, because I just thought they were like these amazing people that like I could not get on that level.
Yeah.
But no, so I was like, okay, I guess I am a songwriter. All right, well, let me write a song and let me release it. And so, yeah, that's how it happened.
Awesome. Do you still have any of those songs from when you were really young that
I remember the melodies.
Okay.
Or at least I remember the melody of my very first song I wrote. Yeah, it was called Mr. Beautiful Face. Yeah, I wrote it about a crush. So
okay. That's fair. It's so funny because like a lot of musicians, when they're just like messing around when they're young, just trying to write music or, like however they're approaching it sometimes it's a song that kind of sticks with them and it grows and it starts off as Mr. Beautiful Face, but then as it morphs, it becomes like, imagine, just to kind of bring it to current day, but it's like a song that just kind of sits with them. And then when it's like, as it matures, as you kind of start to figure out what actually it means to be a songwriter,
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
interesting. But
Yeah, I still remember a lot of my songs back then because it was, I didn't have all the tools to keep everything completely recorded all the
yeah,
time. I didn't get a phone till like I graduated high school. I
yeah,
just had like an iPod Touch up into that point that I used Wi-Fi on.
yeah.
But like, so I had like a little tapes that I might record stuff on, but so I just had to memorize like, okay, I can't forget this melody. So I just memorize it so I wouldn't forget it. And so I remember so many of my old songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, if it was me, I would have forgotten everything because I have like I keep telling myself, oh, that's a good idea. Remember that.
Right.
And then
Right.
like 2 days later, it's like, crap, what was that thing
Right.
that I was
Right.
trying to tell myself not to forget? So
Yeah, I'm sure I obsessively sung them over and over again, so that probably helped too.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So when you were obviously younger, you were songwriting. Were you playing like guitar or anything at that point, or
I
was it?
was playing piano,
Okay.
just real simple, like little just triad chords, like with my songs. That's what I was doing. Enough to keep a beat.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what I was doing.
And then, so piano's primarily been your instrument your entire career?
Yeah. And the intention was that like, oh, I'll get someone to accompany me and like it'll be great. And like my intention was never that I was going to even learn piano as much as I have so far. But then it was just like a necessity, like, okay, there's no one to play for me, so I need to do this, So I learned it out of necessity, honestly, but I do love it. I do love playing it. So
Gotcha. And who like first introduced you to the piano? Was it your parents or?
yeah, it was my mom. We had a little piano growing up because she used to play, but it was missing that, it was one of the smaller ones with smaller amount of keys.
Mhm.
And so I could never really play everything I wanted. So I finally like had invested in a real piano. So I had like all the keys, but
All
I
80?
grew up on that little one she
Yeah.
had, which is from like, I don't know, I want to say the 80s or something like that. So still works. So
Awesome. I tried to learn piano about 5 years ago. I was living in New Mexico at the time, and there was this bookstore called Hastings Bookstore. It was like a regional thing, and they were going out of business. And that was like where I lived in Roswell, New Mexico. So if anybody's an alien believer, yes, I live there. And so the local Hastings store that we had there, that was like the only place that you could get certain instruments, so like keyboards or like support gear like strings and sticks and just stuff like that. And so when I went in there, they had this piano, what I thought was a piano, for sale for $30. I was like, cool, like it's not expensive, I can sit there and teach myself how to play, cool. I bought it, got it home, and realized it was one of those things that you have to like blow into. And
oh no.
and I'm just sitting there, I'm like,
no.
I have the worst breath control. There's no way I'm going to make
Was
this.
that an accordion?
No,
Or
it
like
wasn't. No, it wasn't an accordion.
No.
Like it was like you had not 88 keys, but it was like 44 or so.
Well, okay.
And then you had a hose that you had to blow into. So the air is what made the noise.
Oh my god.
And then you just use the different keys.
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
can't for the life of me remember what it was. And my buddy's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that. So
Oh my gosh.
it was like, okay, well, live and learn. So
yeah.
but needless to say, that was like my one attempt to learn how to play piano. So
Right.
and it failed
It-
miserably.
Sort of like me, I've had a struggle with like learning guitar because that's what I'm doing right now. And it's sort of been an off and on thing for years, but I'm finally like getting to the point where like I just got an electric guitar
Nice.
and it's a lot easier to hold down the strings. So I'm just like, yes, I'm feeling a lot more motivated now. So I
Nice.
think it's actually going to happen.
How long have you started playing the guitar?
It's been off and on for like a year. Of course, before that, like, I had learned some very basic chords and, I've always known the very basic chords. But yeah, I'm ready to take it a step further. So
Awesome. That's always the sign of a musician that wants to, like a really good musician. They want to keep learning. They want to expand their knowledge and, play other instruments. So then that way, when you get to that point, you're writing like full band songs or whatever it is,
Right.
it's like, okay, you're writing the keys part, but you can keep in mind like, oh, hey, this would be a good part for the guitar to come in, or
Right.
the bass, or the drum, like whatever it is. So
Yeah.
that's
And the appeal for the guitar for me is that I can travel with it more
mm,
easily than I can the piano.
fair.
And that's the main draw. It's like, man, what if I just want to set up real quick and play something? It's hard to like lug my piano, even though it's light. It's like you can't take it on the
Yeah.
plane,
Yeah.
So
For sure,
yeah.
for sure. I think that's why a lot of people pick up the guitar in general is
Yeah.
just it's easier to travel with. So,
Yeah.
but let's talk a little bit about Imagine You, which is the new single that dropped on Friday. For the last few weeks on the street, anytime I get a chance to jump into your stream, it's pushing Imagine You. So I knew right away it was a big song for you. It was something that was monumental. So kind of give us the story of Imagine You.
Yeah, so I started it last, I want to say it was like last August or something like that. It's actually been a long time coming. And I started working with a new producer by the name of Jay Laron, and he's awesome. And the cool thing about it was that he actually lives in Atlanta, whereas everyone else I've worked with, had to work online, like through COVID. I mean, I released my first single late 2019, so then everything after that was just like working during COVID. So it was, all over the internet and not in person. And so this time I actually got to go and be in person and make the song with him. And so it's just me and him as he's like producing and, but I felt like I was actually I was able to put a lot more into the production myself too, because I was sitting there with them, so it was so cool. And so I would just go and record and, I go up there whenever we needed to go record something and it's how it should be, so it's super cool. And I wrote the song. Like I had run into a old like crush, and when you're young, they just seem more powerful, So I had run into one, like, I don't know, it was like around October. I had like found the beat and everything. I was like, I know I want to write to this one. And we had started the first 3 lines, but I was like, what's going to come after this? What kind of story do I want to build? And so I ran into this old crush and I was like, and I had this idea and I was like, well, okay, what if I wrote a song about what it could have been like, and what would it be like if we would have worked out? Yeah. And though it's all in my head, like what would it have been like? And, cause nothing ever happened, but it was just almost did, but didn't.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's how it originated. So, yeah.
It's funny as you kind of break down what the song is about. I remember in your stream on Thursday, you were asking people what they think the song is about.
Yeah.
And in the back of my head, I'm like, it could be this, but that just seems too obvious. Like it was basically like running into an old boyfriend and it could have worked out or whatever. And then I go into the chat and I see like all these super deep,
I know,
like well thought out responses, myself included. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, well, what if it was this? And and then I'm like, And then you kept saying, no, it's a pop, or it's like a more upbeat song. And I'm like,
and I was like, okay, wait, you guys, it's not that deep. Like upbeat, it's fun, But no, it was good. Now the next single I'm going to release, that one's going to be deep. That one's deep. But
and we'll definitely talk about that here in a second, as much as you can. But for Imagine You, so that's been in the works for a little bit. That's very much, with a lot of your music, it's pretty much been a pandemic project. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, oddly enough. So much of it has. It's just, because and it feels like I've been doing music for a long time. I hadn't gathered up the courage to release anything until late 2019. So it feels like my career is a whole lot longer. Yeah. But really, I just released my first single late 2019, which really wasn't that long ago. So,
what was kind of the tipping point for you that was like, okay, I need to start releasing my music?
It was Twitch. Oh my goodness, my community is so awesome. They were just like, when are we going to get Jenny original songs? Huh? When is it going to happen? And they just kept on asking and asking. I was like, really? Like, you guys really think I could? I don't know. Like at that point, I was still like thinking of myself as I'm not a songwriter.
Yeah.
Like, but they just like kept encouraging me. And that is like one of the things I'm most thankful for streaming on Twitch is that, man, they're there to encourage you. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, for sure. Like even just looking through the chat right now, it's Jenny's amazing. Jenny's a great story. So,
I don't even have chat up right now. That's so nice.
It's just like, I'm still getting used to this whole Twitch layout and just like, how do I kind of bounce back and forth between the audience with the podcast or whatnot?
Oh,
so
yeah. I'm pulling up the chat right now, actually.
And so I'm just sitting here. I'm like, oh, I'll get to your questions here in a second. So,
that's great.
But no, so that Twitch is amazing for that. And just like the fact that Twitch was kind of that jumping off point for you.
Yeah.
So given that you were kind of a covers artist originally, what was the transition like to writing your own music? How did you go through the process of trying to find your sound?
Oh, I'm honestly like, I think I'm still, well, I mean, like I have my sound, but I do like to experiment musically. But I think a lot of my own like vocal sound and all of that's been developed in the last I want to say like 3 or 4 years. I started seeing a vocal coach at Jan Smith Studios in Atlanta. And ever since then, I feel like that's how I found my sound. Because she basically taught me how to be me while singing.
Yeah.
Because I think that especially newer singers, they're constantly emulating other singers, and she was, she'd be there to be like, wait, no, that's not you. And then she'd be like, okay, no, that's your real tone. This is that, and it's sort of like she taught me how to be me, And so I think that that's a lot of how I found my vocal sound. And now I'm experimenting with my music sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I always want to continue to experiment, but I think it will always be pop. Probably.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you mentioned that you're trying to be you yourself, but every musician still draws musical influences from different artists, not necessarily like, oh, I'm trying to be Adele. You have certain aspects
influences,
influences. So who are some of your musical influences?
Oh man, I grew up with like Linda Ronstadt, Etta James, who else? Ray Charles, Otis Redding, a lot of soulful, the Beatles, nice. The Eagles, ABBA. Those are some of the ones, and Celine Dion, definitely nice. Celine Dion. And I grew up with those a lot. When I was a kid, I'd sit in my room and I'd sing Celine Dion for hours. And I credit her to helping me learn how to belt and learn how to sing like strong, like, I don't know. But yeah, and nowadays, like in the last, like, I don't want to say like 10 years, it's been like Adele and Amy Winehouse and Emily Sandé and Sia, people like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So did you grow up in a household similar to mine where the radio was always fixed on like an oldies station?
So we didn't use the radio, but my mom had all her CDs. And so, yeah, she would play the CDs, or I would play the CDs. Oh, and Fleetwood Mac, also yes. Fleetwood Mac, grew up on Fleetwood Mac. So a lot of those artists I named were some of her favorites. So if we listened to them, it was a lot of those artists.
Nice.
So, and then really a lot of good ones. I'm thankful.
Yeah. My mom was always really mad that she gave me her like vinyl collection, but then we sold it when we moved because she had like the Beatles Whiteout, like all these like really iconic vinyl records. And she's like, and like a few years back, I was talking to her. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get this album, but they want this much. She's like, I had that album growing up. You had that album in your collection back in the day, but you just didn't know it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's unfortunate. So
wow,
it's definitely grew up on the oldies, and the new stations weren't really allowed. So not allowed, but
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then so you start listening to these artists as your influences, and then at a young age, you're just kind of writing just for the fun of it. And then you start, what were some of your favorite covers to do early on?
Ooh, there was a song, Then You Look at Me by Celine Dion.
Mm.
I was obsessed with singing that. The end, just like this giant climax of like belting goodness. So Then You Look at Me. It was one of her more obscure songs, but for some reason that one, I sang that one a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of her stuff, honestly. I'm trying to remember what else. I think I listened to Hilary Duff there for a little bit too. But no. Oh, and S Club 7, that was probably my favorite pop group. And back then, like I was
that one of those Disney bands that
no, so
No?
S Club 7 was a group out of I want to say England.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they were my all-time favorite. But they're this super like hyper pop group.
Yeah.
Like, and back then all my friends were listening to like Good Charlotte
Yeah.
and Evanescence and all these other bands. And I'm like, I'm listening to S Club 7. So I never told anybody. I just kept it a secret.
Yeah.
But I just love their music. I was like, there's such little infectious pop songs. And I was obsessed with them. So I listened to all their music. So I
Yeah.
know that they definitely had a play. Yeah.
For sure. I remember when I was a little bit older, but like when Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and them kind of bands started really popping off,
Yeah.
the Disney Channel had those like weird offshoot bands that were like,
Okay. Yeah.
that were like Backstreet Boys light, but they just tried to
yeah.
take the recipe and remix them. So I
Yeah.
thought maybe that's what S Club 7 was.
Yeah,
Because I remember
no.
the name. I just don't.
S Club 7, they actually had a show on ABC Family or Fox Family back
Okay.
then. So they weren't Disney, but they
Okay.
were on the other side
Gotcha.
of things.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I definitely think they were way cooler than like Disney groups. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sure. They were probably a
Yeah.
little bit edgier because anybody that came out of Disney, they had to be clean cut and, so.
They were pretty clean cut too, but I don't know. They were just cooler. They're just
Gotcha.
cooler.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Imagine You is out now. You got a lyric video for it. You're also in the process of releasing a music video. Where are you kind of at on that?
Okay, so that's and wanted to share one piece of really awesome news real quick before I
Okay.
mention the music video, and that is the fact that I woke up this morning and I looked on my Spotify for Artists app and I got put on my very first editorial Spotify playlist. Imagine You is now on New Disco is what it's called.
Nice.
And it's a Spotify playlist. And I
Nice.
was crying in bed this morning. It was such a moment because this is like what the independent artist like many times works towards is getting on these Spotify editorial
Yeah.
playlists.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. So it's been such a blessing being put on that playlist. And I just want to say that real quick.
I did see your post about that, and I was like, I'm trying to figure out how to become or get your playlist as an Spotify editorial playlist, because we have like our own like live and amplified playlist.
Yeah.
I try and update about once a month just because
Yeah.
I get inundated with like new music on the daily, and it's like,
Oh, cool.
I can't keep up with this. This is like a
Yeah.
full-time job. So yeah. But we definitely put Imagine You on the playlist last night.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
that's really cool. But I'm trying to figure out how to become an editorial playlist. Like that would be
Oh,
awesome.
well, so I think you have to be like working at Spotify or
Oh, okay.
editors. Yeah. So I don't think it's like, now you can still be a really successful user
Yeah.
playlist.
Gotcha.
There are many of those that are just as successful as like a Spotify editorial, except the difference is the Spotify editorial has their little Spotify logo on the playlist. It's
Gotcha.
like, and so when you submit a song onto Spotify, or you have a chance to pitch your song, and so I've pitched every single one of my singles. None of them have ever been placed. It's more of a rare thing.
Yeah.
They take like the cream of the crop and put it on these playlists. And so when it happened for me, I was just like over the moon.
Yep.
And
Hey,
once you get on one, I think it's easier to get on others too. So
For sure.
Yeah.
And so was the original like sound for Imagine You, was it meant to be like a more disco track, or did it just kind of
when we were working through it, I think the people that I had showed it to at the time were just like, I'm catching major Prince vibes on this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I haven't really listened to Prince that much, but my producer loves Prince. So I'm like, well, there you go. That's where it came from. And so I think that's kind of where all that came from. I wasn't intending on it being disco. And honestly, I didn't even know it was. I thought it was more 80s.
Mhm.
But then I've been submitting it to other playlists and they're like, oh, I think this is too 70s for my playlist. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then they add it to disco and I'm like, okay, so maybe it is more 70s.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
I don't know.
I definitely hear the disco influence, but to me,
Yeah.
it just feels more 80. Like, I definitely hear the 80s
Yeah.
vibe off it too. So it's like,
Yeah.
maybe that's where they get the new
Yeah, I think
disco.
like the name of their the name of their playlist being New Disco, they say like a disco reimagined or like in today's modern times, like so I guess it's like a fresh take on it or something like that.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that I was a fresh take on disco, so okay.
Awesome. It's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
we're
I'll
gonna
take it.
we're gonna stay in this lane, but
take it.
probably not. So,
Yeah.
so you got a music video for dropping for Imagine You.
Yes.
Have you officially announced a release date, or is it still
I'm
kind of?
aiming for, I'm going back and forth between Thursday and Friday night. At this point, I'm thinking perhaps Friday night. Usually I do Thursday nights, but I'm just like, no, I think I'm gonna do it on Friday this time. I just got the first edit back today and I'm about to go listen to it after this. So, yeah, I won't really know until I know how much needs to be edited with the video or what's going down, but I'm aiming for next Friday.
Have you actually watched it yet, or is that you haven't even looked at it? No.
Nope. I just got the email right before this session. So yeah, I'm gonna go look at it after this. I'm so excited.
Awesome. And it's, of course, it's not your first music video. You've got a few.
Yeah,
on here.
yeah.
What's kind of different about, is there anything different about this music video?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah, this one, it's very, very colorful and is very retro.
Okay.
There's actually a part of the video where we go into this studio and it's a whole bunch of these like LED lights on all these signs. And there's actually an old telephone booth that I'm like picking up the phone and talking on. It's so retro and nostalgic with a modern twist. So
Awesome. And who kind of, as far as like the creative elements of it, is that more your side of things, or do you just let the like video producer, videographer be like, okay, this is what I'm thinking?
yeah. So yeah, my director, his name is Ryan Parma. He lives in LA, so I fly him out over here every time that we work on something. But he's incredible. He's worked with some very, very awesome people. And yeah, I tend to give him like, I'm like, oh, let me see what you're thinking. Like, I'll tell him sort of what I'm thinking. And then he's like, all right, let me see what I can come up with. And so then he tells me what he's thinking. And so he does have a big hand in the creative direction of the video, which I think is great because honestly, I'm a newbie at this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the ideas that he comes up with. So,
Gotcha.
And then we picked our places and yeah.
And it was all shot around Atlanta or Georgia?
It was shot in 2 different locations, but one of the locations has like 3 different rooms. So we also, I shot in one of the studios that I shot this video is the same place I shot my next music video coming out, which is actually a cover of Wicked Game.
Nice.
So I've shot that in the same place. So
Gotcha. So you just kind of announced the release of your next single? Is that what I just?
Yeah, well, I've been telling people that.
Oh, okay.
Because I did both at the same time. I was
Gotcha.
like, okay, we're doing the Wicked Game music video and we're doing the other single music video. So, and then I actually have announced my next original single.
Okay.
So most of my Twitch people at least know what's going on. None of social media does, but my Twitch people do. They get the inside. So
Nice. That's hey, that's awesome. Because you see them a lot. You stream what, 3 times a week?
yes.
Yeah. That seems to be like the comfortable amount of times to stream, because any more than that, it's just a lot, especially when you're on there for 2-3 hours, right?
3 to 4. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm undershooting then. So.
Oh no, all good. I also stream on another channel on Twitch on Sundays, although it doesn't happen every Sunday, but it's on twitch.tv/heart support. So they are huge mental health advocates. And so it's just a place that people can come and hang out and discuss things that maybe you can't discuss on other channels.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But I'll go on there and I'll sing and do some music on Sundays too. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's really cool. So you've got a busy 2022 with all kinds of singles already been released and new ones coming. What's kind of the live show situation looking like? Or are you pretty much just Twitch at this point?
Oh no, I that's always been the dream.
Mhm.
And honestly, it's been something that I have been it's funny. I think I've psyched it myself up in my head because I just didn't do live stuff for so long, especially during COVID and all that. And you know, I'm always behind this camera right here for the last 5 years. I have done live stuff, but I haven't done that much. And so it's definitely one of my goals this year, just to get out there, do small stuff, and then eventually work up to like, you know, small summer festival stuff and work my way up, because that is the dream, is to perform. So
for sure. So just going to say it one more time. Imagine You's out now on Spotify. So I'm going to post the link into chat here. And if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, after the podcast is over, go give it a listen, add it to your favorite playlist, you know, whatever you can do to help support Jennifer in making the song very successful. Because I read that within 24 hours it hit 1,000 streams, right?
Yeah, and that now I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, it's because I think part of that is because it got put on that editorial, because I just hit 1,000 followers on Spotify.
Yeah.
So, you know, to get to that already, I was like, what? You know, yeah, I've done really well on my singles, but they take a little while to grow usually. But this one's growing really fast. So
hey, that's awesome. That's really amazing. And then for are you working towards like the next album, or are you just kind of
I'm doing singles right now.
Okay.
It's such a singles driven industry right now, I feel like. And also it's a lot easier for me to market one song versus 4, 5, 6, 12, you know. And I can just give it my all and really focus on that song, getting all the streams. And
for sure.
So yeah.
And it's one of those things where if you're not like actively out there playing music like in front of live audiences in different like out there, I guess touring is the best way to word it, but you know, then an album, it's just kind of like you're releasing it, and unless you're out touring off the album or whatever, it's like after 3 months it's like, okay, where's the next one, what's
exactly
next, you know?
I feel like I would do an album when I have a bit of an audience to do a tour or something like that with. Exactly.
That's fair. Very fair. And so I imagine You's out now. You've got all kinds of cool stuff coming with it for the music video. The lyric video's out now. It released the same day as the single. So what's kind of the plan for the rest of 2022?
So I'm like I said, I'm gonna release the Wicked Game cover. I have another single called In the Rain coming after that. And then my first single that I released called Blue, once it hits 500,000 streams on Spotify, I'm gonna put out an acoustic version of that.
Nice.
And then after that, I don't know. I don't have anything planned after that. I guess I've only planned 2 steps ahead at this point. But after that, I guess I'm just gonna be writing more songs and releasing more stuff. I'm gonna try and release as much as I can this year, as quick as I can work and as quick as my producer can work. So
for sure. Where are you at in the writing process right now?
You know, it comes in waves for me. Like I know some people that just, like my friend Emmy, she will just write like all the time. It's just, and I think that's great. I mean, it's a great practice. For me, I kind of come in waves. I write obsessively for like 1 month, and then I stop for a few months, and then I write obsessively for a month, and it's sort of, I kind of write, you know, when the feelings come, like when I'm really in the moment of something. Like my upcoming single In the Rain, which is 2 singles from now, I guess. That one I wrote when I was going through a breakup. So I was like, all right, I'm going through a really tough time right now. This is a perfect opportunity. And and I just find like, man, some of my best songs come out when I'm just in the heat of the moment of feeling whatever I'm feeling. So whenever I have really strong emotions, I'll sit down and write. And I find it just really helps that way for me.
So you write from life experiences and expressing what you're feeling at that moment.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so that kind of explains the waves of you know, because you can't have like you can't consistently have or constantly have extreme life moments, because then it's just like, you know, you just want to scream as loud as you can.
And honestly, like, I would like to write more. I think just part of me, it's trying to wear all the hats of marketing and putting, you know, working on music at the same time. It's like, I do have a little trouble finding time to write. So I think sometimes that's why I also go in waves. It's just like, okay, this month I'm really focusing on writing, you know? So yeah.
One thing that a musician told me really works for them, because they're very much in that same ballpark of in waves, just kind of like when life hits them, is that they started finding like song prompts. So like once a week or whatever, they'll get a song prompt, and, you know, just even if the song doesn't go anywhere.
Love that.
So
I love that. Yeah. Cause a lot of times it's like, okay, what do I write about? If I'm not going through anything, it's like, well, what is there to write about? But whenever I think, okay, let me write a topic about this, it makes it so much easier. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of why we started doing our Sunday song prompts, and they're very random, but, you know, it's just kind of like when I'm putting them out there, it's like, I try and put like experiences that everyone had. Like a few weeks ago, it was write a song about the summer that didn't happen, and expecting it to all be like very COVID related, because like 2020 was that summer that essentially didn't happen. So, you know, just stuff like that. So it's you know, just looking into different prompts and stuff like that. I think that would really help you get more consistent with your writing, even if it doesn't, like I said, even if it doesn't turn into anything. So
yeah, totally.
But yeah, so outside of music, what's kind of your stress relief? What do you do to get away from everything and just, you know?
I hang out with friends. During COVID, it was video games constantly. But now I can get out. Oh gosh, I love shopping and I love baking and just making good things and watching Netflix. Yeah.
Nice. You watched anything good on Netflix recently?
I'm kind of obsessed with Asian dramas.
Okay.
That's all I watch. Well, except for The Witcher. I've been watching The Witcher too.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah.
I keep telling myself I need to watch the last season of Ozark. Like I watched.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I've seen all the first 3 seasons, and then there was like such a long layoff because of COVID that I was just kind of like, man, now for me to go watch season 4 and it to make any kind of sense, I got to at least go watch all of season 3 again. And it's just like, man, that's a lot of time, because they're hour-long shows, and there's a whole bunch of shows. So yeah. But no, that's cool. Netflix is cool. And then what do you like baking? What's your specialty?
And just desserts. I love, you know, sometimes I love picking the hardest possible recipes and trying to do them. And they usually almost always turn out really well. So if I wasn't a singer, I'd be an actress. And then if I wasn't an actress, I would definitely be a baker.
Awesome. You know, I just bought yesterday a pan to make brownies, but they're all the edge pieces. So it's like, I found it on Amazon randomly, and it's like set up in such a way that every piece you cut is an edge piece.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, because when we were kids, we fought over the edge pieces of the brownie, and it was like,
oh wow, I fought over the middle pieces. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. You know, it's just funny. So I saw that and I was like, $6 or whatever it was. Perfect.
That's great.
I haven't made brownies in 15 years, but you know, get a box, egg, water, you know, it can't be that hard, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
So cool. So one thing that we do with every guest that comes on here is I have a random question generator.
Okay.
And it's meant to be fun, lighthearted, all that stuff.
Okay.
And so it's going to come to you rapid fire, but I'm going to kick it off with one of the questions that I saw in the chat from who sent it? I think it was Twizzle.
Okay.
If you could make only one cake, what kind of cake would it be?
A cheesecake.
What is the worst advice you've ever been given?
Uh, oh God, that's hard. The worst advice I've ever. Oh man. Uh, I don't know. Well, it wasn't advice, I guess. Someone told me one time, they're like, your voice is so average. And it was like when I was younger. I was like, thanks. I'm like, you should just like try and be more unique or whatever. And I was like, okay.
That is like a mean
Oh my
comment.
God.
That's just
yeah, it was so mean. I was young too.
Oh, wow. All right. This question's right up your alley. What is your favorite video game weapon?
Bow and arrow.
If you were forced to enlist into any war in history, which one would it be?
Ooh. Maybe.
That's a tough question.
I mean, that's like, yeah, it's like pick your poison.
Yeah.
Oh man. Maybe World War II.
Okay.
Yeah, because maybe then I'd run into my grandfather because he was in World War II.
All right. I don't know.
And he made it out alive, so yeah. I could stick by him.
So did my grandpa did too. So.
Oh, good.
What is one gift you would give to the person nearest to you, like within distance?
Oh, in distance. A homemade smoothie.
What kind of smoothie?
Well, it definitely have bananas in it, and I either go one or two directions: berry banana or chocolate banana.
If you had to give a 1 hour presentation on something you knew absolutely nothing about, what would that topic be?
Oh, nothing.
So basically, what topic could you BS your way through for an hour?
Oh, BS? Oh, yeah. Goodness. Oh, I don't know if I could BS it very well, though. Gosh. Oh, man. Maybe space? Maybe I could. Something like that.
Two more questions. Two more questions. By law, everyone has to pick a new name. What would yours be?
Oh, okay. I probably name myself Summer because that's what my mom was originally going to name me.
Awesome. And then, all right, this is the way to end it. In your opinion, how much sawdust can you put in a Rice Krispie treat before people notice?
Oh my God. Maybe
that's the first time I've seen that one. So
wow, maybe I want an eighth of a cup.
Fair enough. Very fair. Very
technically,
fair.
Cinnamon is like sawdust, sort of. You know.
I saw that. I was like, all right, you're a baker. Let's see where this one goes.
Right.
So. But it's been an absolute blast chatting with you. Yes. I really, really enjoy it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As you're kind of taking the opportunity to plug all your socials and where people can listen, I'm going to ready up the raid as I'm trying to get better at rating because I'm not very good. So where can everybody find you if people want to check out your music or your Twitch or any of that fun stuff? Okay. Yeah. So you can always find me, at Instagram at Jennifer Jess Music, Facebook, and Facebook's also Jennifer Jess Music, and then Twitter, Jen Jess Music. And if you just look up Jennifer Jess on YouTube, you'll find my channel, or even just Google Jennifer Jess. I'm one of the few Jennifer Jesses out there, so it's pretty easy to find me. And then, of course, jenniferjess.com, which I still need to update with my new song, but that's there too. And of course, I'm on Spotify. Everywhere I am is under the name Jennifer Jess. So, yeah. Awesome. And then, of course, recently found out you're on TikTok. Yeah, Jennifer Jess Music on TikTok. Yeah. And your music was on because I'm trying to get better at TikTok, trying to promote the podcast on TikTok and whatnot. And I was like, okay, let me, and like the tell if I'm going to do it is if your music is synced through TikTok or whatever. Yeah. And I was able to find Imagine You, and I was like, yay! Okay, perfect. So I don't know if there's like a challenge or something people can do with it. But I've been thinking about that already. So that's definitely something I'm going to do. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Absolutely. We're getting ready to raid a new channel I actually found this morning, Mother Lion Music. I literally found him about an hour ago, and I was listening to him before you came on, and because a lot of my normal people aren't on right now. So it's like, amazing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so once again,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Is there
you.
anything else that you want to tell the people out there that are listening? And
You can tune into my Twitch channel next week on Friday when I premiere my latest music video. So.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. And we will start the raid here in about 2 seconds. So,
all righty.
All right, cool. See you guys later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And do you put your VODs up after this or?
Yeah, I put them up on.
Okay, cool.
Like obviously they stay on Twitch for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Whatever the normal amount of time is, and then I put them up on YouTube. So I will put that up on YouTube. Actually, today is kind of like the day to do all that. I reserve it for the weekend. So. And
is it all right if I take some screen recordings of this and like put it on my Instagram or stuff like that? Yeah, for sure. Actually, I could send you the video and so you don't. I don't know if that makes things easier for you or. Sure. Yeah. Because then I can go in and edit out different stuff and make a more condensed version or something. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And then so the audio for this will be up actually it'll probably be up today because I've got plenty of time to get it up. And then the video will be about a week or two before I get it up on YouTube. And other than that, did you have any questions about anything? I don't think so. Yeah. Just thank you for having me. This was fun. For sure. I'm excited because I'm going to Nashville in like 3 weeks and Emmy's been pushing me to come out. It's been 2 years, but cool. Yeah.
For sure. But let me know if you need help promoting anything or if you ever want to come back on to promote. Maybe not the next release because try and keep a little bit of space in between. Yeah. But just feel free to reach out. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Yep. You too. Okay. See ya. Yep. Bye.